Alright, I'm gonna make this quick because if I try and do this any other way, I launch into like a dozen tangents. Uh, I spend far too long otherwise. So, bear with me. So, all the good about Lost Soul aside, I'm gonna get out the way now because it was not the majority of my experience. Okay? Great. First off, music team. You are the only ones who came to work and actually did your jobs with flying colors. Okay? Combat cinematics were okay half of the time. And that's outside of accessories being a pretty neat thing. We now slide right into the almost unending problem with this game. And this is a problem that started at the first minute and never once stopped. So great. Just great. Eh. So here's the thing. In Lost Soul Side, it has quite genuinely a ton of problems. But I don't have enough time in my lifespan to go over it all, and neither do you. Okay? So we're just gonna simplify it for both of our sakes, okay? Ultimately, Lost Soul aside sucks. It does. It is not very good in the slightest. It is such a colossal disappointment, even if your expectations of it, like myself, were very low because you didn't know jack shit. Yeah. Here's the thing. Ultimately, Lost Soul aside, despite the first 3 to 4 things I mentioned earlier, has a repeating problem. It feels like the mass majority of the people who worked on this game, from the high end to the low end, hated this project, wanted nothing to do with it, wanted to go home. My first impression of the game was noticing that clearly the animation team and a giant portion of the modeling team hated this job and wanted nothing to do with this shit. Why? Because pretty much every model that I met for almost every character looked fugly. It looked awkward. It looked wrong. It looked like it should have been on Alien. Yeah. And then there's the animation. Yeah. Yeah, the animation. Oh, fucking hell, the animations, man. My first impression of the entirety of the animations is watching my character try to hump the air as he's walking. When he starts to run, he's humping it harder. It's fucking stupid. I Who was in charge of testing this? I would love to know because I clearly should never call you. Ever. Holy hot damn. This is shit that legitimately was in the start of the game, trying to do anything, go anywhere, move at all. He was humping the air every time he tried to move. You cannot do any testing and not have noticed this. Bullshit. It is clear, once again, that all the testing teams, they also didn't want to be here. They also wanted nothing to do with this project, and they also just wanted to go home. Because there is no way to test this game at all without noticing these issues. It's not possible. That's not counting the other animation problems where a character's finger would go from a normal finger length and then it would double as she would extend it. It was fucking creepy. Lip syncing is a joke. Such an awful joke. The puzzles, the mass majority of them suck ass because all their challenge is just because they require trial and error, and they reset you to the start every time you make an error. That means even if you are literally on the last piece of that puzzle, you are doing the whole puzzle over again. 2-stage boss fight, there's loads of them in this game, and you will be doing them all over from scratch every time you die, whether it's because of something cheap or just because you made a small miscalculation. Doesn't matter. Back to the beginning you go. Over and over and over. The save system is trash because the only save that actually matters is checkpoint saving. If you actually go to the fugly, creepy Liana to save, she doesn't actually save your progress. You just go back to the checkpoint before you saved. In other words, if you go to her, purchase some shit, then save, you have to then repurchase shit all over again. And then there's the fact that this game is $60, not counting tax, for a 20-hour game where 18 of those hours is one long fetch quest. No, really. Fetch the 5 crystals, only for them to become kind of meaningless by the end, anyways. So why did you bother? This game has countless moments where it screams you should be given a dialogue choice. You don't get no dialogue choice. In fact, most of the dialogue options kind of just suck, anyways, and pretty much mean the same thing. And they're also at sucky moments where it makes no sense for me to have input suddenly. Okay. Now, there are a total of 4 weapon types. Now, granted, there's a total in combined of 48 weapons, but there's only 4 weapon types. Sword, great sword. Okay. Uh, scythe, pole blade. The fuck? That's it. That you do realize you're in a. You cannot try the line of it's too fantasy to have something like a gun, right? You have fucking airships with rockets. Bullshit. You're telling me I can't have something other than just another variation of blade? Really? Really, really? I've seen dudes using bows. You're telling me I can't have something kind of like that? You're telling me I can't have no gun? Really? You have airship with rockets, and you don't have the tech for gun? I call bullshit. You see, that's kind of a thing here with this game. So much of it screams, we didn't want to work on this project. We just wanted to shove it out the door and be done with it. And it shows. Because that's been the constant, the almost endlessly eternal problem with this game. From the very first minute of gameplay to the last second of gameplay. Okay? I have never once felt like this game was actually given a shit about by the majority or even half of the workforce. I feel like everyone wanted this thing done and over with. And honestly, that shows. That's the way the game feels the whole way through. That no one wanted to finish this project. Now, you can try and lie to yourself and lie to me and say that it's worth it $60. No, it isn't. It is not worth $60 to get a 20-hour one-time play game, and mind you, that has nothing really good about it aside from music. Like, honestly, if you want to try and say, but King, that music's really good, just go get the soundtrack. Save yourself money, effort, time, energy, and putting up with bullshit. Just go get the soundtrack. Like, honestly, if I want to hear this game's music again, I'm not playing it again. I'm not renting it again. You can kiss my ass. No, I'm going to go and find the soundtrack or listen to it on YouTube. Because that's more worth my time than actually playing this honestly not very good game. If Past Me was here, he'd be going off on a long tangent saying that this game is, no matter what, a 2 out of 10 for him. Thankfully, though, we're skipping that process and we're going straight to future me, present me, technically speaking. And we're gonna go with a 3 out of 10. Now, here's the thing: is if you want to say this game is a 5 or 4, I can see that. I feel like 5 is too generous, but I can see it. 6 and above, you're full of shit. You really are. You are paid for, and you know it. No, this game has been a joke, and not an enjoyable joke. That's before we even bother wasting our time getting into stuff like voice acting or certain animations versus other animations. We're skipping a lot of shit just so we can keep this video as short as possible. Because it's not, because clearly it wasn't worth doing it properly for their game. So why should I do a proper review for them when they couldn't even be bothered to give a shit? Hopefully, I'll start feeling better sooner, not later, I hope. And I'll be able to start working on getting the thought processes and the planning for the streaming stuff. Hopefully. Please let me get better already. I am tired of being crappily tired and feeling awful. Eh, see you all soon, I hope.